Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring a little light. There you go. And based on that, I've been busy, man. I've been busy. I've had time to do exactly that, counterpunch. And I noticed I haven't went live in a while. So here we go. And this is one of the live topics that I wanted to discuss with you guys today. Um, I think that Tyson Fury has created a lot of questions for a lot of other fighters because Joshua came out yesterday, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about. He came out yesterday and said and admitted that Tyson Fury was the reason he decided to switch get his whole style up in order to defeat Alexander Usyk, or what his intentions were with Alexander Usyk. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about. So Joshua let that out of the bag. And for me, that's something that I wouldn't have said. Let's hit that like button. Let's hit the like button because I know a lot of people don't know I'm live. I tried to give a little bit of time to let people come on in, but it's all good old YouTube. Let's hit that like button. Give time. Hit the likes. So whoever's hitting that like button, I appreciate each and every one of you. But Joshua, man, it just shows though where he's at, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about. Is that what GNR 7500? I'm very curious what this is going to be considered the title. Well, I mean, you look at Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury came back into the sport. Okay, let's talk about Tyson for a second because this is basically what it's about. Tyson came back into the sport in 2018, right? And what was he really doing before then? Dealing with mental shit, head problems, brain fog, drugs, alcohol, right? He was dealing with all those type of things. Weight gain. Come on, we remember that. Not the Kenahan Mafia connections again. Joke. My bad. He definitely has mind game control over them all and the rest of the egotistical people. Okay. Louis Munoz. I just hope no one ducks this year. Fury ruling this sport like a boss, says Alex Guerra. People with the PBD has okay psychopathic traits that aid in manipulation. Well, but back to Tyson. No, I don't know about the Kenahan. I really never really covered that. Like the Kenahan stuff is like, I mean, I didn't really see any relevance in it. That's just as worse as like Martin Carefoot and all that bullshit. But anyway, Tyson Fury came back into the game half-cocked. He came back in with what? A couple, Pianetta, Safari, right? I never heard of those guys. And the only reason I know them is because he fought them. Let's be real. Regarding your heading, no, he doesn't. He's just a big mouth that sells fights. But once he is hit by a proper heavyweight, the top three, he will feel it. Dave Davis, you're talking about, and let me counterpunch. You're talking about the physical. I mean, anybody hits anybody. Somebody walk through this door and whack me upside the head with a left hook, and it's hard enough, it will put me down. It will put anybody down, But I'm talking about mental, because there is a difference. See, sometimes like before he fought Wilder, after he had those two tune-up fights, he was flabby. He had all this loose skin. He looked a lot better than he looked a year before that, but I mean, he still looked like shit. People didn't know what kind of condition he was in. And, people's educated guess would be, you know what? Fury's going to go in there. and fight Deontay Wilder. Because everybody thought it was a joke. Do you guys remember that? Like the Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury first. That was a joke. That was a joke of a fight. And it looked like a what? Cherry pick. Come on, am I right or am I wrong? AJ has the best resume in jab and boxing. Win, lose, or draw. He's the best boxer of this era. He understood that Wilder wouldn't fight him unless he thought he was washed. He made it look like he was much slower than he was on purpose, in my opinion. Stranginess. That might have been the case. He might have pulled a Alexander Usyk on him. He might have okey doked him. But I don't. Maybe. I just think Tyson Fury needed the rounds. I think he needed the Safari fight. He needed the Pianetta fight. He needed those fights to go a certain distance because he had to know himself that he could go that distance. Okay? So you have to look at it. A lot of times, tune-up fights are exactly that. They tune you up. What do you do to a car? Right? That's been sitting around for a long time. You don't just get in that shit and drive. No, you got to check the oil levels. You got to check where it's at, how much oil, how much water, right? Oil pressure, water pressure, right? You have to check the temperature. You have to check everything on the car. But most importantly, you have to take it somewhere to do what? To get a tune-up on the car. That's what Tyson Fury did. He had 2 tune-ups. People say AJ is a marketing product. I have to say Fury has marketed himself well. Also, we just don't know how good he is. He may be the best, but until he beats the top fighters, we won't know. Well, Paul, that's all of them. You can't beat one guy up for 3 years and claim you're the best. I keep telling people the same shit. But that's not what this is about. This is about Tyson Fury, with the manipulation, with the mind games, with the trash talk. Because after all, it was trash talk that made Anthony Joshua change his whole game plan. Made him say, you know what? Fuck the brawling. Fuck the fighting. I'm going to try to outbox Alexander Usyk. And it's all thanks to who? Tyson the Gypsy King Fury, right? Because that's what he said. Unless he was just talking out his ass and using an excuse. I mean, think about it. Your rival says something bad about you. It affects you to the degree to say, you know what? I'm going to do this. I was going to go down this route. Now I'm going to go down this route. Just because this person or what this person said. It's crazy. He can get into people's head, granted, but White is mentally tough. Didn't even bite at the Chisora table throw. I don't know. No, well, look. Chisora and Dillian White are 2 different things, and if we're talking about that for mental toughness, Chisora did throw water in his face and call him a donkey. You remember that shit? Who's the donkey? And that pissed Dillian White off. Dillian White wanted to kick every ass in the room, so I don't know about that mental that you don't want to mess with him like that. I know that much. Like getting under somebody's skin. Well, it depends on what you call getting under people's skin. You guys in the U.S. thought it was a joke. We in Europe knew better because we knew Fury better. Well, jumping only, I guess you can say that shit, but I mean, the obvious was, we were proved wrong because who Tyson Fury was. But Tyson Fury was an inactive fighter. So regardless of what we know is what was the intention. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, what happened is what happened, but what was the overall intention of Wilder picking or deciding to select Tyson Fury? Then you got to ask yourself, where was he on the rankings? See, that's a big shit. That's a big shit on Dillian White right there. Good counterpunch from the man himself. I agree. Plus, because of the weight loss and mental health problems, Wilder probably fancied his chances. Well, if he thought somebody was completely unstable, used to be like 400 pounds, wasn't in shape, hasn't fought in like 3 years or 2.5 or whatever, that's a dead giveaway to fight somebody. Because see, had Wilder went out there and did exactly what he did in the last round, in the first round, people would not be looking at Tyson Fury who he is. They would laugh this shit out of the park. Because Tyson Fury was not supposed to do what Tyson Fury did. That just shows you the greatness of Tyson Fury. There was more to that man than people thought that he had. He showed people more than he's supposed to have. Now, was it all a trick? Was it all a mind game? That's what we want to talk about today. Okay? So, Tyson Fury having mind games. We know, okay, let's stop the bullshit. We know he has mind control over Joshua by this point. You got to think about all the failed attempts or all the bluffs about fighting last year in Saudi Arabia and all that shit that never happened. Instead, we had a trilogy fight between himself and old rival Deontay Wilder, and they had it out for the third time. You know, so where does that leave Joshua? That leaves Joshua with a very slick, very good, talented, smaller opponent that he knew he had to deal with because he was the mandatory. Kurt, how is Fury regarded as the top heavyweight for beating one guy? Joshua and Usyk have beat so many good fighters over the years, it doesn't make sense. Matthew Branch. Joshua. Usyk beat Joshua, but Joshua had the best resume. So you have to be careful. You can't say, okay, Joshua and Usyk. Usyk did his thing. Usyk knocked out Tony Bellew. He conquered every belt in the cruiserweight division. But unfortunately for the cruiserweight division, that wasn't a sought after division. Okay, people knew who Usyk was versus what was going on, because in that division where a lot of people didn't know, you know, you had Alexander Usyk and who else? You had Dorticos and you had Mike Perez, and you know, you had a lot of these fighters, you know, that he had to fight, and he showed that he was the best fighter there. Then he showed Tony Bellew why you don't mess with Alexander Usyk. Then he goes to heavyweight. So yes, has his run been good? Yes, but what Usyk is learning, he's learning the politics of the game. And he will learn that if he beats Joshua again, Alexander Usyk will learn more politics, just like Lomachenko had to learn. Like Lomachenko thought that he was going to go to 130. Remember, from 126, he was going to go to 130 and fight and kick every ass up there, including Tank Davis and the rest of those guys he already beat or made quit. That didn't happen. The big guys are supposed to be the guys, the young, upcoming, hungry motherfuckers, weren't hungry for him. Okay, so Usyk will find that out later on if he beats Joshua, because Joshua is that guy that he must beat to ascend on where he wants to go in his career. All right. Well, for Joshua fighting who he fought, that's Joshua's resume. Alexander Usyk doesn't have a better resume than Joshua, nor Dillian White, but he beat Joshua, so that's the start. Okay, that's the milestone. So Usyk has set a milestone. Yes. Tyson Fury, I'm not arguing with you about that. Tyson Fury had beat Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder was the other champion or other fighter that was regarded as the best, proclaimed regarded as the best. Let's hit that like button. We have 100 people in here. We got 18 likes, over 100 people. But anyhow, let's hit that like button. So what happens with that? Tyson Fury has beat Deontay Wilder, beat the dead horse 3 times. Usyk has beaten Joshua. Okay, so none of these guys, though, have still fought each other. It's like, hey, these guys did this over here. These guys did that over there. But what happens after that? Can we get the 2 winners to fight each other? Well, we tried that. Didn't happen. Contractual agreements. Okay, we tried it last year between Joshua and Fury. Didn't happen. Still had contractual agreements. So that didn't happen. So it's a lot of fights that are not happening now. Okay. Tyson Fury, if he beats White, if he fights White, and he beats White, though, that'll be another name. You have DW, then you have DW. So That's something at least to build on. Everyone has something to build on. Joshua, Fury, those guys have Vlad. Deontay Wilder, his claim to fame is Ortiz. Okay, Ortiz saved himself by knocking out Charles Martin. But other than that, we don't really. Of course, Usyk has Joshua. Okay, now his foundation was really an undisputed cruiserweight champion in another division, which people don't respect that at heavyweight. So that's what he runs into. That's what he gets the pushback from. But okay, that's his foundation on top of beating Joshua. So hey, you think I don't have foundation? You think I'm not a heavyweight? I beat Joshua. Okay, so that's his foundation. So the question you ask yourself is, when will people other than Joshua start building, and White start building their foundation? But I'm talking about all champions here. Dillian White is he's an interim champion, but he's not that quote unquote world champion. That's just more of the WBC politic bullshit. Okay, when it's dealing with money and getting money out of fighters. He's a champion sometimes, just like Devin Haney. So Devin Haney's a champion uh, when Mauricio's around. But when Mauricio's not around, he's not saying that he's calling someone else the undisputed champion. That's disrespectful. So, we have those type of things. So Dillian White, besides him, but he has the resume. These other fighters don't have the resume. So people have a lot to make it up to do. Tyson Fury still has a lot to do, in my opinion. Again, I'm not for people saying, yes, it was a good fight with Wilder, but you've beat Wilder twice in other people's, you at least beat him once. If you're a Wilder fan, you might think, oh, well, he lost because of the 2 knockdowns. Whatever, right? So, but the last 2 fights sealed the deal. But you did not have to have 3 of them motherfuckers to see who was better out of those 2 people. Okay? But back to Tyson, okay, because we don't want to lose focus. Tyson Fury has a way of getting under people's skin. Some people, and we've seen what he did to Deontay Wilder. What did he do to Deontay Wilder? Okay. See, besides that fight, people thought it was a cherry pick, regardless of what people thought in the UK. And a lot of British people, fighters, promoters, thought that Fury was going to lose to Wilder. So I'm not alone with the shit. Right? Fury don't know his own mind, fella, let alone anybody else's. Counterpunch Fish R1 200R. AJ can seriously beat Usyk, Kurt, if he just fights instead of trying to outbox him. Matthew Branch. We will find out now, won't we? We will definitely find out if that's true. AJ not being the same after Ruiz. Tyson planning on that. AJ should be mentally stronger than listening to Fury's verbals. Seems AJ don't believe in himself. Got to do mind training now. HK. Yeah, I think he needs to train his mind as well as everything else, because God knows he's already trained his body enough, or to the degree of him becoming whatever, physically fit or physically conditioned or whatever, because the only thing you see his ass do basically is work out. Pack rat, gym rat, really, right? So we've seen that. So maybe Joshua does have to work on some mental exercises, because the type of shit that was, and and in here at this point, I hope it's an excuse. Right? God knows there's other fighters that had one, but if that's a true reason and you did that shit because Tyson Fury was talking shit about you, yes, you're mentally fucking weak. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You are weaker in the area in your mind that you should have been stronger to when that whatever jab, jibe, whatever came from Tyson Fury. That should have went bing and bounced right off. That shouldn't have hit you and penetrated and made you think like, all right, I'll show you motherfuckers. Now, something I do think of, Anthony Joshua, I think, did that again. He did that before. And then this is what I think. This is my counterpunch on. I think what Joshua did, Joshua thought to himself, you know what? I beat Andy Ruiz. I beat him quite easily. And I think that was the problem. If you want to blame anyone, blame Andy Ruiz. Don't blame him for the first fight. Because if you blame him, I'm not talking about that. Joshua got his ass whooped, not respecting another fighter. Simple. You get in close range with a guy that could hit you, he's going to hit you, especially if you're hitting him, right? And you're bending all down trying to make it. No, it's not going to work that way. Okay. You should blame Andy for the second fight. Okay, you guys with me? You should blame him for the second fight. Why? Because he made it too easy for Anthony Joshua to go in there and box his ass for 12 rounds rather than give him a fight that makes him think, gives him a fight that gives him some type of trial or tribulation. Give him a fight that is a real fight, not just, hey, bap, 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 bap. That all happened. And Ruiz, boop, fucking Mr. Blob over here, Mr. 300 pounds, Mr. fucking Logan and Jake Paul's fucking friend, let Joshua win an easy, and he let him skate. So that's what happened. You blame Andy over that. Because I think what happened in Joshua's mind, you know what? I can do this shit all the time. Right? And he thought to himself, you know what? When Fury started that, yeah, that was probably an incentive, but that might have not been the reason. I don't think. I think he thought, well, let me win in the easiest way. Right? And what's the easiest way to beat someone like Usyk? That ain't to knock him out because I don't like to get hit because I've learned that before, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to outbox this guy. Dumb move. Crazy move. Tyson is good at getting into and messing with people's heads, but he also has a problem with personal demons and lying with his own head. Yorkie Elliott. Well, I mean, that's true. But here's the thing: the most arrogant people suffer the most self-conscious, excuse me, problems. So Fury will prove you guys wrong yet again. You will still call him overrated or whatever, even if he beats every man on the planet without stealing that. Well, Mr. Intamim. I know. I look for reasons to give people attributes, praise, but I don't look for it. That's the problem. I'm not a fanboy. I don't look for it. I just see what I see. And what we've seen Tyson Fury fight Pianeta Safari Wilder, and then Swartz Vilene, then Wilder, then Wilder. So, I mean, if Otto Vilene starts kicking some ass, you know what a fight I would like to see now? Give me the Ortiz Otto Vilene fight. Put his ass in there with another southpaw. Joshua had this going into Parker fight years ago. Fury beat a guy that can't box, still got dropped, but yet they call him the best. He's a fake, and I'm in the UK. Wesley Andres. Well, you can't, here's the thing. Everyone gets hit. Deontay Wilder's not a good boxer, but see, just because you're not a good boxer don't mean you can't improve and get really good at one thing. What did Wilder get really good at? He got good at throwing the right hand and landing with the right hand. See, if anybody played video games, you would understand what a spammer is. Does anybody know what a spammer is? What do you mean by does Tyson Fury have mind control over the division? That's what I mean. He's shocked. That's exactly what I mean. I mean, does he have mind control over him? Because Wilder got so pissed off at a guy that was overweight, that had mental problems. You know, why he got under Wilder's skin. He did. And I know that affected Wilder because in the first fight, Wilder wanted to come out there and rip his head off. That's why he was throwing so anxiously. That's why he was so reckless. That's why he was a lot of particular things. And it all comes down to what Tyson Fury said. He ridiculed his career. He ridiculed his resume. He made him really doubt himself. See, when Tyson Fury got to talking shit at Deontay Wilder, everything that he was saying was the truth. He just broke down his resume and he did everything that somebody that would be considered a quote unquote Wilder hater already done. But they didn't have that type of voice. Tyson Fury did. So when he said that to Deontay Wilder did feel a certain type of way. It did get to him because he knew and a part of him knew that what Tyson Fury was saying was absolutely true. His resume was bullshit in 2018. He only stepped up in 2018. He didn't do that before then. None of those guys were worth a shit that he fought before Ortiz. And Ortiz was like 39 fucking years old. 39 years old. Okay. And at that age, you can't ridicule anybody about fighting someone older. So like all those fucking guys have done it. Tyson Fury fought Vladimir when he was 39. AJ fought him when he was 41. Dillian White fought a gang of motherfuckers at a certain age. Look what he did to Povetkin. Povetkin was 40 years old and he knocked his ass out. So the old shit gets old. When people talk about, you fought an older this and an older that, they all have done it. So stop. Kangaroo Jack coming in with that super chat. Bars. Tyson Fury has too many he has too many tails in the kit. Too many tails in the kit for any other heavyweight in the world. Usyk will be his hardest fight when it comes to technical ability. Kangaroo Jack, he does. And hopefully, here's the thing. Regardless of you're a fan and who you're a fan of, okay, it's going to be boxing is unapologetic. So if this is a fight, and I want people to remember this, if this is a fight that AJ ends up losing to Usyk, and Tyson Fury beats White, right? That is a fight we then will have. But then there will be so many things answered since that time that it's going to take a lot of people. It's going to rub people the wrong way. Just remember, if AJ loses, don't give up on him because he only lost to two people in his career. Twice to Usyk and once to Ruiz on an oopsie. And then we could prove Ruiz is an oopsie because what has Ruiz done? Ruiz has not done anything since then. Let's just keep it real. He hasn't done anything since then besides get knocked down himself by a 40-year-old guy, Chris Arreola. And Chris Arreola was indeed a tune-up. Ortiz is older. He's 52. Leon Musa. You know what? And I'll say this about Ortiz. If you guys think he's 52, okay. But see, would that make him look worse or would that make him look better? Counterpunch. Okay? So for all the people that think Luis Ortiz is 52 years old or older, give me a yes or no. Is Luis Ortiz older than 50 or younger than 50? I think you're missing the point. Everyone is talking about how good Fury is. I agree. He is the best, but the question is how does anybody beat Tyson? Well, I mean, it's a few ways you beat Tyson. Okay. Okay. He Big Boss younger. But let me, Kangaroo Jack, let me counterpunch real quick. This is what happens, okay? When you're dealing with Tyson Fury, Tyson Fury has only fought so many people. I can't say he's the best. You can say he's one of the best because he's one of those guys that has of yet been defeated by someone. So that's that. He's undefeated. And I know people with their what do you call them, resumes and records. That's deceiving. Okay, but I think Tyson Fury needs to fight other people. It's just too close to tell. See, don't jump on the bandwagon just because, oh man, oh, this is, Tyson's the best. What makes him the best? He beat Wilder, okay? What did he do before Wilder? He beat Wilder. What did he do before Wilder? Well, 5 years ago before that, he beat Klitschko. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Yeah, let's hit that like button. Ortiz is older than 59. Yeah, but he's a brilliant 52-year-old. Shola, Ebofin, counterpunch to you. Ortiz is more older than he is in the Wikipedia. He did tell his age. He's 42. Okay, well, see, here's the thing. If the man is older, and I want people to understand, he beat Jennings in prime. Who is he? Who beat Jennings in his prime? Ortiz. He beat Klitschko, reigning champ for 10 years, gave respect. Absolutely. But I mean, that was in 2015, though. Dude, do you understand how long ago that shit was? 2015 now is 7 years ago. You know, styles make fights. I really think Usyk beats Fury. Well, Shola, we'll see. We will see if that happens. But but in order for that to happen, Usyk has to beat AJ again, and then Tyson Fury would have to beat White. But then we are in ahead of two very very exciting nights of fighting before that could even come to pass. You know, and the question you ask yourself is, what type of win will it be? Will it be grueling? Will he go to war with Dillian White? Because here's the thing: if Tyson Fury goes to war with Dillian White, and they have one hell of a fight, there's going to be a demand for a rematch if Tyson Fury beats Dillian White, but Dillian White dropped him or something and gave him hell, and they went back and forth, kind of like how he did with Chisora and all that shit. People are going to want a rematch, and then what's going to happen is what's going to prove of what type of sportsman Tyson Fury really is. See, there's no rematch clause, so he doesn't have to fight Dillian White again. But if he fights him and it's some kind of weird decision and he beats him some type of way, but White gave him a fight of his life, people are going to want to see that shit again because people don't want to know, well, okay, this is what boxing is about. This is how boxing really truly unfolds. This is how it truly evolves, okay, and moves forward by these fighters fighting each other. Then we will know. But I guarantee you this: Frank Warren and Bob Arum will not want a rematch. There's no rematch with Dillian White. The bastard complained for 3 years. He got his shot. He's out. Cisco Perez. Sup, Kurt? Just showing some love. Keep doing your thing. Thank you, brother. Thank you with that half a dub. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Much respect and counterpunch to you. Once Ortiz stops fighting hand-picked opponents, I will give him more respect. Do you think Charles Martin was a hand-picked opponent, though? I mean, that's the best name that I've seen him face, like, up to now besides Wilder. You are looking at a former IBF undisputed fighter. Okay? You are looking at that. So, I can't give like I can't diss or how can you diss Luis Ortiz for fighting Charles Martin when people wanted Dillian White to fight Charles Martin when he came over here? You know, would you want Luis Ortiz to fight Jermaine Franklin? That's looked like the normal type of, fight you would see. Jermaine Franklin. Kurt, there been no Vlad since 2015. St. Don, absolutely. I agree. There hasn't what you're saying, there hasn't been anyone like Vlad. No, there's not. Martin got whooped by a 50-year-old man. Well, that's one hell of a 50-year-old man, but he dropped that 50-year-old man twice. AJ has the best resume and jab in boxing when losing. No, okay. Thank you, Victor Bada. I think you said that for like the third time. AJ has become a soft boy. He doesn't like getting hit from cruiserweights while Fury and Wilder are ready to die in the ring. Your moms. Well, here's the thing. Your moms. Let me counterpunch. Do you guys remember when Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, especially Wilder had this big drawn out plan to freeze out AJ? Do you guys remember that? And then, like, Anthony Joshua, I think, brought that shit up first, saying that, hey, come with realistic negotiations and shit like that. Because it got real nasty for a while, and people were just really sprung up on money and all that. But then Wilder had an idea like, hey, we'll freeze you out. Now they begging me. They begging us to fight now. And I'm like, okay. I mean, and it comes to the point like, okay, are you glad that they're begging or you're glad that they're finally asking? Because it seems like, okay, that's when it started getting weird. It's been weird from my standpoint to Deontay Wilder because of what he said he took or accepted versus, it was real shitty. But the freezing you out thing, I think was real. I think Wilder got in his mind like, look, the type of excitement that I can create, and all I need is a certain dancing partner. I don't need a particular dancing partner. Fuck what the fans want. I don't want that. I don't need people telling me who to fight. If I sell myself, all I need to do is fight Fury. I can build my legacy off Fury because Fury beat Vlad. So Fury beat Vlad and I beat Fury. So I would be the man. And then I would be exactly what Anthony Joshua is over in the UK. I think that's what all Wilder wanted. He didn't necessarily need Anthony Joshua to do that. Why? Because the pride thing. See, if Wilder fought Joshua, he would have to give that credit to Joshua because of the fans, because it would sell. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to be the primary selling point to his brand and to his marquee value. He wanted to be that guy, but he needed someone else. Well, how did he do that? Where was that going to come from? That was going to come from Tyson Fury. Why? Because Tyson Fury can sell a fight. Tyson Fury talks a lot of shit. Tyson Fury even proved in the first fight that, hey, I can get dropped twice, but I can survive too. So Wilder started thinking, and if Wilder wasn't thinking, Al Heyman was, or Shelley Finkel definitely, because Shelley Finkel hated Eddie Hearn more than Deontay Wilder. And the only reason Deontay Wilder hated Eddie Hearn is because Shelley Finkel hated Eddie Hearn. So let's be real about that. So, give you guys in. Let's hit that like button. Let's get 100 likes right now. Yeah. And they thought to themselves, we don't need Eddie Hearn. We don't need Eddie Hearn's contract, his money, his negotiations. We don't need his fighter. We're doing well how we are. So that's how they did. And I can imagine Shelley Finkel saying that. We don't need Eddie Hearn and AJ. We don't need that, Deontay. Bars. Right? Tyson Fury, in my opinion, rightfully owns all the belts. The fight with White will be determine on the style Tyson Fury wants to come in with. Kangaroo Jack, I think he's going to come in with that crunk style because I think he knows the effectiveness of it. If Tyson Fury comes in and fights Dillian White any other way, that's not going to look good. If he comes in jabbing off the back foot and shit like Ali or Larry Holmes or some shit like that, that is going to show a lot about Tyson Fury and how he respects Dillian White. Okay? And a lot of people might think it's smart or this, that, and the other, but, no. It's not going to happen that way. White has less KO ratio than Fury, who has pillow fists. Well, it's the resume's different. He knocked out Derek Chisora. Now he did that shit. I mean, a lot of people thought Derek Chisora beat Dillian White, but I think at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Um, we have a we have a super chat from Foxon Dujan. Facts and do, John, bitch. Hey, Kurt, I'm just getting into boxing, and your channel has been a gold mine of knowledge these past few months. Learned so much. Greetings from Scotland, mate. Facts and do, John, bitch. Thank you very much. Welcome to the community. I'm glad you're watching. Stay tuned. You will learn a lot more, and we can always learn and grow together. So I'm glad that you came in. Appreciate the love that you're giving me. And back to the counterpunching. Let's see. Dillian White and Tyson Fury. Okay. Tyson Fury it comes in another style. It just shows you that he respects someone that's a better boxer than Deontay. That's all. And Deontay, he knew he could get away with certain shit. Whereas, Dillian White, he can't do that. Because he'll get hit with something that he knew. But that's the whole thing. Tyson Fury and Dillian White, that's going to be that's a game fight. It's a real game fight. Because everybody's just going to think that Tyson Fury is just going to run right over Dillian White. Those guys have too long of a history for that to be the case. And let me prove it to you, all right? Tyson Fury, and we all know this, Tyson Fury beat the shit out of Jarrell Miller in sparring, right? And he's supposed to drop them 7 times, and then he got disgusted with the performance of the sparring partner, Jarrell Miller, so he packed his bags and sent him packing, got him the hell out of there. You guys remember that? Anybody remember that? Yeah. I wish there was some way to make the font bigger, unless I'm going blind. Rodney Beard, he never slept. Wilder, come on. Counterpunch to you, Mr. Kurt. Henry Gomez, counterpunch to you. Well, him and Dillian sparred a shitload, and that didn't happen. In fact, the opposite. Tyson Fury was supposed to get dropped by Dillian White, right? Saunders dead in a plane crash. Man, don't play about that, man. It's been a lot of people. Betty White, Sidney Poitier. Uh, you know, I mean, I haven't heard that. That shit's not really funny. It's too, Usyk will clean out the division. OnlyFans, White will get sparred. Rumors, not facts. Okay. Graham Taylor, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. That emoji with Leonard Ellerby with that big, that distinct nose he has. That shit's funny. Who do you think who would win between Fury and Joshua? Well, at this point, Joshua has some mental hiccups and hangups. And we know that. If what he said was true, unless he's just bullshitting people, because that could always been some bullshit. But like Joshua though came out and said, "Hey, I tried to do this because Tyson Fury pissed me off of what he said, and I ain't like what he said, so I decided to change my whole game plan." But that's even debatable too, though, right? So because it's like if you know what, if that's the case, that means that Anthony Joshua's team is 100% trash. I don't think Usyk's reign will be long. That's a good debate. Who do you think beats Usyk? I mean, here's the thing: Usyk has to get past Joshua, and we don't know what kind of Joshua is going to come out. But this is what I predict off the top of my head. If Joshua comes out throwing bombs, Kurt, delete the Russian bot. They've been getting channel shut down. What Russian bot? Who is the Russian bot? Tyson Fury versus Prime Lennox Lewis. Who wins? Oh no, man. I mean, like, I would have to go with Lennox right now because Lennox was faster. He was short. Well, you know what? I looked at Tyson Fury and Lennox Lewis. They're not that bad. I mean, he's taller than Lennox. But I saw Lennox and Tyson Fury to face. They didn't look that tall. At 2031. I don't know what like at 2031 means. Beppa something. I don't know what the hell Beppa is. Because I haven't seen Beppa. Sorry, I don't. Look for it real quick. Because one thing I can't stand are bots. The time he posted, I really don't know, man. I really don't know. In fact, let's do this. So, if you feel that, go get him. You know what I mean? Gave you a wrench, go take his ass out. Kurt ain't mentioned COVID. He ain't getting shut down. Oh, what's going on with that? Somebody's getting shut down because of COVID? That's crazy. Anyone can get dropped in heavyweight. It's the strength of character you show after what matters. And that's true. Jack Smith, counterpunch to you, brother. Kurt, what's a good way to take a punch to the head? With your head down. Somebody hits you in the top of the head, they could break their whole fucking hand. So if you see someone punching, lean down and let them hit you right on the top of the head. That's the hardest part of your body. The Djokovic been shut down in Australia. Okay, I don't know who that is. What the hell is tall? What the hell is tall to do with anything? Okay, and that's true. Mike Tyson was a beast, and Mike Tyson I think was like 5'10", 5'9" now. Otto Vilene would have beaten Dillian. Well, we won't know that now. Luis Ortiz would reveal his real age only if he would become world champion, just to take that crown of the oldest heavyweight champion from George Foreman. Igor, that would be fucking sweet, wouldn't it? He would tell everybody, I'm 48 years old. Like, damn, he is literally the oldest heavyweight. But it would show you, too, that man is 48 years old and still kicking ass the way he was. And the only times that he got shut down was by a younger, heavy-hitting guy that had one-punch damaging power. Okay, so Ooh, Razor Ruddock versus Wilder. I don't know because if you look at Wilder like in 18, he was a pretty dangerous guy. I think what happened in 20 kind of affected him, but we won't really know that until he gets back in the ring with somebody else that can thump. That's gladiator stuff, Kurt. I'm sorry. I remember Fals, RIP, Cape Town, South Africa. Former heavyweight champion Corey Sanders has died after being shot by robbers at a restaurant during a family celebration. He was 46. Damn, that's terrible. You know, we had Danny Kelly Jr. that was just killed recently in Maryland. And this is what you're saying. We just had a Russian that just died like today. Arrest just passed. I just posted it, So, um, yeah, I was in 2012. Ernie Shavers versus Riddick Bowe. I put my money on Ernie Shavers for some. Riddick Bowe was better skillfully, but Ernie Shavers hit harder. So, you know, what's your favorite Rocky movie? I don't know. I like looking at those as a whole because my ex girlfriend bought me the whole set from the first to the fifth, and then this is back in the day, so they were like all VHS, right? And I loved watching them all. I remember like days like Fourth of July, Labor Day. They had Rocky movies, but I don't know because I watch them as a whole. I just can't watch that one and just keep on. No, I'm gonna have to have a marathon or whatnot. Mr. Beautiful Blues, cheers to you, brother. Okay, cool. That Beba guy. All right. Oh man, which Rocky? That's the tough one. Kurt the man. Nicholas, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Not keen on Rocky Five. Rocky Five was the one that did stuck out. Go for it. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you though, Tommy Gunn, Tommy Morrison, that was his first movie, and he did a hell of a job, you know. I ain't nobody's paper puppet. I ain't nobody's puppet. That dude that sounded like Don King. You have to get in there. You have to beat Rocky Balboa. You want to be his puppet? Hell no, ain't nobody's puppet. Yeah, Tommy Morrison's left hook was sick. Jack Smith. He had a good left hook. Um, uh, that's the saddest shit ever. And you know about Tommy Morrison? Tommy Morrison was a weird cat because he was 44 years old when he died. Man, he looked like he was like 68, 70 years old. All in America, baby. Drumming for life. Yeah, it was sad, Jack. It was sad. What is your opinion about AJ and Dillian White fight? I mean, it was a good fight. I don't personally want to see it again. I mean, look, the only reason I would want to see Dillian White versus Anthony Joshua too is when one of them, okay, let's say Dillian White beats Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua beats Alexander Usyk. Okay, those two could fight for undisputed only if that happens. Like, if they both lose, I don't want to see them fight again. I don't. Because there's so many other fights that could still happen, whether they're champions or not. I don't care about rematches and all that shit. I don't care. Airzism. Kurt, what's good, bro? How you doing? How am I doing? I feel weird. Um, I do have COVID. So I'm on quarantine now. So uh, and it's weird because it's like I didn't even think I had COVID. I just had like I left the air on and the temperature changed. So you know, so I decided to go to the doctor, and then the doctors was like, don't sound like COVID you have. It sounds like an upper respiratory infection. So they diagnosed me with that. They started giving me a pump and all that shit. Kurt, you had COVID more times than Keir Starmer. No, I had it last year. But like last year, I was really like, that was like, I think that was a different strand. This year, it was like, okay, I didn't even know I had it. And it was weird. They were like, you've tested positive. So I was like, oh shit, here we go. You know, dang, am I feeling well? you know, Kurt, I watched the Ali movie. Yeah, Matthew, I got COVID again. That's what they said. So I do have a bad cough. Other than that, I don't really see anything wrong. They had me on Mucinex for my upper respiratory infection, but I guess that's just now COVID, or that's one of the symptoms of COVID. Whatever. But I mean, I don't feel bad or nothing like that. So I don't know what else to say about it. So live, Kurt, I watched the Ali movie. It was good, but somebody else should have played Ali. True. True. I think Ali got too big. Ali's not built like that. You know, I don't think he was ever built like that. That was Hollywood shit to make Will all fucking swole and buffed up and shit. That wasn't Ali. And a lot of things they said they were going to do with footwork, they really didn't do. You know what I mean? They didn't really show the true sweet science of what Muhammad Ali possessed in his prime, or in his time, rather. Can't say in his prime because they snatched a lot of his prime time away from him due to the fact he didn't want to go overseas and murder other people. Kurt, is there enough out there on Hergovix to believe that he's the boogeyman? No. People just don't want to fight him because they're not coming up with the money. Cisco, nothing more, nothing less. Are they ducking him? Yeah. But is it because they're like shit scared of him? Well, I don't think that. I think they look at that big motherfucker and say, you know what? How much money are we gonna get for fighting him? Oh, 500,000. Fuck you. So then what happens? Then they duck him because he's a young guy, he's undefeated, and then there's no money behind it. So who wants to possibly get their ass whooped by a younger guy like that? That's hungry as shit. Mr. Beautiful Blues. Damn, man, hope you feel better. Hey, man, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Kurt, your antibodies will be like Canelo's chin. I know. I mean, I think that's what it is now. And matter of fact, I had an antibodies test after the first COVID, and I had a lot. And I think this is maybe the Omicron, because I am in another state, because I worked in Oklahoma, then I drove back to Louisiana because this is where my house is. Well, I started feeling shitty a day before, or sorry, a day after I got back. But I thought it was because I left the fucking air on. I did leave the air on, like 70, but it was the air. But then it, like, the temperature went from like 68 degrees to 30. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it dropped. So when I woke up, I was cold, and I was like, oh shit. So I went downstairs and turned off the heat, and turned on the heat and turned off the air, and I noticed, like, I was like, okay, I feel this in my chest, but like I've been breathing this shit in all night, right? So for God knows how long. AJ skill set isn't as good as people think. Well, your skill set is only good as your mindset. See, you might know how to do a lot of things, but what really matters if you don't use them when you need them? That's all about mental, knowing when to do something at a particular time. Okay. Knowledge without intelligence doesn't mean anything. Okay. You can be knowledgeable, you can know stuff, but like, I got a friend. He's the smartest motherfucker ever, really. But he does nothing with it. like at all. He does absolutely nothing with it. So it's like, how intelligent is that? Counterpunch. So there, I mean, that doesn't really mean anything. Do you mind if I ask, are you vaccinated, bro? And if you are, isn't strange how people still keep catching it? Well, Matthew, it's not strange because I follow my doctor. My doctor was like, okay, you need to get a shot with your antibodies that you currently have because both of them together will help you because it will allow open your body up to get more to create more antibodies to help you if you get it again. Well, the Omicron is different unless you got the booster. So the booster's different. So it is what it is on that. CDC says if you're not vaxxed, your COVID chin is Amir Khan. I don't know, man. Maybe so. But Nicholas, that was a good one. You know, Curtis, flu season. Glenn P. I know. I had a flu test, and they were both negative. I had a bronchitis test because I thought it was bronchitis, which I hate bronchitis. Bronchitis. I had bronchitis in 2019. I thought I was going to die. I had chronic bronchitis, so it was like borderline pneumonia, because my bronchial tubes were shit. So I was in Brazil. I had to be rushed to the emergency room. They gave me all type of lung treatments and shit. I had sweat, so I depleted damn near all of my. I was about to have a stroke because I didn't have any water. So they had me on IV and everything. It was crazy, and and the weird thing about it was around the same time Broner fought Pacquiao, right? Or Pacquiao fought Broner, and I remember watching, like, paying for that fight in Brazil and not being able to watch it, and I was so pissed because Showtime, they or Fox or whatever, they took my money but wouldn't allow me to watch it. I'm like, dude, I'm in Brazil. It's like, well, sorry, you're not available in your country. I'm like, damn. COVID is everywhere, even in Helsinki, all stores. Fury is the best heavyweight on earth right now. Matt, Fury is the best. He has to prove he's the best, and he has to keep proving that he's the best. Metal Box J, what's up, brother? Checking in from Chile, England. Counterpunch for 2U. It's chilly outside too, and it looks like it's gonna rain, like cats and dog. You know, Kurt, what is the great trilogy in boxing, and how does Fury Wilder stack up against that? Ooh, Rob Riv shows live 01. I don't, trilogies. There was a lot of trilogies, man. Let's think about some. We had Ali Frazier trilogy. Uh, um, you didn't have many trilogies though, other than that. I know Richard Norton. Norton and Ali fought, I think, three times. I know they fought twice because Ali fought a lot of people twice. He fought Spinks twice. He fought Norton maybe three times, but it doesn't matter because I don't remember that, so I'm not going to use that as a reference, right? Barrera fought Morales three times. That's a trilogy. Pacquiao fought Bradley. That's a trilogy. Those aren't the best. One of the best got to be Gotti Ward. Gotti Ward, I think, was the best as far as fights and excitement, oohs and ahs, fights to give you chills, shit like that. Gotti and Ward, I think, was the best. You know, a lot of people don't really want to do trilogies. Tyson Fury and Wilder, they stack up real nice. I was watching the fight of the trilogy between Tyson and Wilder, and I was watching it with a friend of mine, and they were like, "Shit, I did not know this was this good." I was like, "Trying to tell you, no." Everyone loves Fury in the UK except AJ fanboys and the Yoke. Who's the Yoke? Fury gets no respect, man. He could beat everyone on this planet and still need to prove something. Mr. Intamim. I think I said this before, but uh Fury gets respect when he starts doing what he needs to do. If he keeps doing what he's doing, if he gets the white fight, I mean, what else? What other fight could he take besides that fight? Fuck Andy Ruiz, dude. I mean, like Andy Ruiz, what does he have? Is he a mandatory? No. I mean, he could fight somebody like Joe Joyce. He could do that, and put one of his other belts up, the invisible belt in the Ring magazine, right? So White would be the guy to fight. So if he fights White, I mean, who could complain about that? I mean, I think it's fair to say this. If the fight between Tyson Fury and Dylan White, if it gets made, it's fair to say people get off of Tyson Fury's ass, get off of his neck, because that's the fight that he should be fighting, and be thankful that the fight's going to happen and hope no dumbass injury or something happens. Ali Frazier was ridiculous. Kill all survivors. That's true. Barrera Morales, that was good. The Mickey Ward, yeah. I mean, that's what comes to mind. Trilogies. Well, you did have Leonard Hearns. They had a trilogy, but I honestly don't remember the third. I don't remember the third fight. I remember the first two. I don't remember the third. Best trilogy was AJ Tackham. All right, let's see. Fury haters go suck a lemon. Lemons are good, man. Usyk is in all three heads, including Fury's. They all scared of a heavyweight who has an unlimited gas tank and can dance and throw for 12 rounds. Adam Burton. Man, I tell you, that is a scary thing, and I think that's what Joshua. I think his primary concern was the fact that Usyk won't gas. And I think what happened, Fury's stamina is kind of good though. Well, he's all right. I mean, I think Fury showed he gets tired, but he shows it less. But I mean, if you're dealing with somebody that's always freaking active, you know, I don't know. I don't know how he would deal with that. We seen how AJ dealt with it. Shit, he gassed out. And he thought he was going to coast that 12th round. And he thought Usyk was going to give him time to throw a few good shots and try to, convince the judges. No, Usyk did not do that. Usyk came for his head, right? He came for his head. So Usyk will get knocked out soon. Ooh, Vizio W predicted a knockout of Usyk. So Hearn and Leonard only fought twice. I thought they fought three times. Is it possible that Fury has the ability to throw an uppercut? Yes, Bennett James. That's what he hit Wilder with a couple of those times and a couple of those knockdowns. Fury will rough up Usyk and KO him in the late rounds. That would be a good start. Start grabbing Usyk if he can. You know, throw 2 or 3 rapid shots and grab him. You know what I mean? Suck some of the energy out of him. Lean on him. Take juice out of his back. I think this is what I think. I think Tyson Fury would be more educated on how to beat Usyk versus AJ if AJ can't do it the second time. And like you said, Kenny, Jack or whatnot, lean on him. But Jack Smith comes back with that counter in the trench. Usyk slippery as an eel. And you're right, Usyk is slippery as an eel. I mean, that cat is like him and like Papachenko. I don't know if he, I know his son is Vasil, but him and Usyk, they have that same type of mentality. Never be in a situation where someone is able to hit you and hold you. And I think that's one of the processes and one of the things that they tried to avoid. They tried to avoid fighters grabbing them, doing that Bernard Hopkins shit and pat, pat, pat. You know what I mean? And then, and like you said, all boxing, Usyk does have a good chin. You know what I mean? Anybody that had that type of fucking marks on his face, but did not go down, but still has the scars. Mm-hmm. Did you hear that Vladimir Klitschko said he would possibly come back just to break Foreman's record as oldest champ? GNR 7500. Send me the link that he said that because I didn't hear him say that shit. St. Don, if Team Chisora doesn't want any part of Wilder, they won't pay. They want any part of AJ. No, that's not true. Because they know Wilder has nothing that anyone wants anymore. He has a name. But as far as money goes, AJ will always be, if AJ wasn't a champion, like he's not now, just like Deontay Wilder's not a champion, okay, AJ is still more marketable than Deontay Wilder. It's just the way it is. It's like fucking Nintendo and Sega. Okay, that's the way it is. Now a lot of people would disagree with that. Whatever. AJ will stop Usyk on cuts if in the rematch. You heard it from me. Usyk has thin skin. Vizio W. No, I'm not going to argue with that. I agree. Usyk is just like Vlad and Vitali. They cut easy, and their skin is very thin. They're just tough. I noticed Usyk don't like the body punches. AJ hurt him every time he touched the body. Nikki Blue Eyes Austin. Welcome to the chat, and that's true. That's why I look at like Canelo Alvarez and what he does to the body. You know what I mean? I think that would be one of the only ways he could get to Usyk if that fight happened, which we all know it won't. So I think that would be, Canelo, going to the body and shit on him, fainting. I just want to know how Usyk will react out AJ's hardest punches. I mean, shit, he's got hit with those punches. It's just Usyk was able to take them. You see, like Usyk got hit with those with rights. They just wasn't a lot of those rights because of the defense. So you got a guy that's constantly anticipating on your punch to swing at him. So he's already, leaning towards the counter because he's leaning into that. So all you have to do is throw it. Good. I'm already leaning that way anyway. So it's basically he's looking for your punch. So you're orthodox. He throws a punch. He's a southpaw. He's a southpaw. So he's leaning. So he's leaning, or he leans, and he's getting ready to counter with the right hook over the jab, okay, or the straight left. That's what he does. Usyk would smash Canelo. Pagan, War Master. Well, I think that's the truth. That's why I think and I know Reynoso does not want any of that fight. They said, fuck you. We're not going to fight Alexander Usyk. But I'm like, dude, you're going up to cruiserweight. And then what does people do? People use Usyk and label him as a what? Cruiserweight. Usyk would beat Canelo like a child. He would. But then you know it's levels to this, and you know that's a reason why certain fights don't happen. Chris Stan, thank you for spending some time with us, Kurt. No problem. Man, thank you guys for coming to see me because I'm the guy with COVID. Part 2. All right. Skilled man beats skilled little man. Usyk Canelo in a nutshell. Well, Nicholas, we thought that shit about Joshua, didn't we? We seen what happened, didn't we? Counterpunch. Because Usyk beat Joshua, How a fisheye say, a good biggin would beat a good little one. That's what they say. I think AJ has a better chance of beating Fury than Usyk does. I think AJ has a better chance of beating Fury than he does Usyk. That's what I think. There you go. There, I've said it. Yes, Usyk's more skilled. Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm gonna watch Usyk. I'm gonna watch Usyk and Hunter. AJ Wilder is still the fight I want to see. Yeah, I want to see that too. So, and it takes the ass getting beat a few times, a couple times, or whatever to really feel like, hey, look, let's make this fight happen. AJ can beat Usyk, but he needs. Wait a minute. Damn it. Where did it go? Okay. Okay, yeah, Glenn P. AJ can beat Usyk, but he needs to try to keep the punch volume up. Well, yeah, but it's a lot. It's a lot better said than done because the more you punch at a fighter, the more you're prone to start giving yourself rhythms and habits, and that's what happens. A lot of times, people they look for certain, 1, 2, 3 left, 1, 2 left, 1, 2, 3 left hook to the body, 1, 2, 3 left, 1, 2, 3. Like a lot of, and what happens, a lot of people like Usyk will start timing what your rhythm is. So if his objective to be more with his punches more, those punches are coming at a certain, at a certain speed. And then that's where timing comes in. So some southpaw, 1, 2, 3, 4, bow! He catches you with a left hook because he's already caught you, and he's already found what your rhythm is, what your combo patterns, So you're 1, 2, 3, and then right after that hook, he knows, okay, that's what he shot his wad for that particular tempo. So let me give him something in return. Crack. Right? And don't start dropping the left. You better be able to dip under or something like that. Kurt, who's your top 5 heavyweights in order? Usyk, Fury, Joyce, White, Joshua. That's it. Just off the top of my head. AJ looked at Usyk like the Terminator looked at Sarah Connor. I'll be back. AJ versus Usyk is only halftime, and boxing is famous for the last minute winner. AJ by KO in the 12th. Hey, if AJ comes out and he knocks out Usyk, he'll be the first person that beats Usyk. But then, he's still going to get pushed back because if Usyk doesn't get the opportunity to fight anyone like on the WBC end or any other fighter like that to that magnitude, what'll happen? He's already like 34. None of those other guys will fuck with him. See, like people understand and promoters see certain things, and they also understand. Joe Joyce is good. He's just not there yet. He's in the top 10, not the top 5. So promoters understand what could possibly happen and the dangers of bringing in a banana peel. So who the hell wants that to happen for their fighter? So if Joshua ends up knocking out someone like Usyk, they'll know, okay, don't fuck with Usyk unless you can do what AJ did. But AJ had to get his ass whooped the first fight to even get the opportunity to knock him out in the second fight. So like, I don't want that for Tyson, or like a lot of these people are not gonna want that for, you know what I mean? They're not gonna want that for their fighters. A guy that could possibly beat your ass, that was undisputed, that was unified. No, no, no. You know what I mean? And that may be worse if, right? If Usyk beats him, it'll be more so. Who the fuck wants to fight that kind of guy that fucking jittery? How you fucking say it? He's jittery, yeah, jittery ass dude that moves and shit all the time. You know what I mean? He's always on defense. You punch him, he's you're like, dude, what the, what shocked me with Usyk was how quickly he started. Usyk is normally a slow starter, and I think AJ thought the same and was shocked and not shook. You know something, Nikki Blue Eyes, that is 100% dead on. Listen to what Nikki said. You notice what shocked me was how fast Usyk started. And I thought that myself. I'm like, dude, what in the fuck? Like, Usyk normally is the guy that does kind of like Lomachenko. They will come out there and it's kind of like, they will throw, then that double jab coming from the southpaw. They throw it there to see what your reaction is going to be. Let me throw the right jab. So will the right jab come with a jab, a counter jab, or will it come with a straight right? Will it come with, will he approach me? What will it do? It's just a fill out thing. They come in and they, they come in, give an angle, step back, step to the side, duck, and they'll throw that right, that double right, and then they might shoot down to the bottom just to score, but then they bring it right back up. If you notice, and then, and it's crazy. Usyk came in like, I'm like, yo, what the fuck's wrong with Usyk? Would they stick him in the ass with some type of, steroid or enhancement? Because the dude, and I don't want to give nobody that idea, but he did start hella fast from what we know. And it just lets you know that certain people can do certain things. They not only, sometimes they just choose not to versus, what they do. Not saying they can't do it, because we've seen Usyk start very, very fast. Usyk was ready for him. Yeah, he was. Herky jerky, drumming for life. That's it. That herky jerky shit, that shit'll drive you crazy. Especially somebody can do that shit for what? All day? It makes sense, Kurt. AJ got confused and was not expecting that all. That's why I think AJ can redeem himself. Well, I think he can do better. But then again, if Usyk steps it up and hits another gear, oh my God. And what that will do, if Usyk beats AJ, Usyk will probably destroy the heavyweight division. He will ruin it. And what do I mean by that? Well, for one, the fucking money's gone. Nobody's going to make money like they would make fighting Usyk than AJ. So that's the first thing people are going to see. The second thing people are going to see is like, fuck, this dude was able to go into another gear against Joshua and take his ass out. You've heard Usyk say, hey, I can fight different too. That should be the thing you worry about. See, Joshua may be getting prepared for a guy that he saw in front of him, but he may be way off. It may be a guy that hopefully comes out to destroy AJ, and AJ comes out to destroy him, then it will be like some Hagler Hearns type shit. You know what I mean? And we'll have multiple knockdowns and have something like a Fury Wilder 3 type fight. That would be badass. Because see, at that point, people will remember both fighters, especially if they did what they did in the sport or in that particular fight. And then people will look at that like, damn, you know. And if Joshua gets knocked out, well, at least people can't say he ain't got balls because at least he went for the kill, you know. Versus that AJ, that Andy Ruiz shit he pulled over there in Madison Square Garden up there in New York. At least you say, man, well, shit, he went for it. And then people will still, the fans with AJ was like, dude, AJ has heart. Just like the Wilder fans. The Wilder fans don't dismiss him because they knew he did his best. Okay? So if they knew that AJ did his best, you know, lose, or if he wins, shit, great. But if he loses in a fight like that, he drops Usyk and he's like, damn, then Usyk comes back and does some crazy old extraordinary superhuman mutant shit. Well, you know, then what could you really do? But then if he does that, people are now going to start looking at Usyk like, uh-uh, uh-uh, hell no, hell no. Vlad knocked down AJ. Yeah, he did. Kurt, who wins Castano Charlo rematch? I really don't give a shit because I know who won the first fight. Just like I didn't really care for Parker Chisora too. Because the second fight, what Parker did in the second fight had nothing to do with the first fight at all. Usyk, the superhuman mutant. Yeah, man. Wow. That is rain. Damn. Hold on a second. I gotta see this. Wow. All right. No, I mean, it's just coming down crazy, you know. Who is Kambosos going to fight next? Man, Adam, I have no idea about Kambosos. That's another time for another crime. Stanio beat Charlo. You asked me, what do you think? I mean, I know he beat Charlo. He beat Charlo that fight. That's why Charlo wasn't pissed off, because he was happy he got the draw. You know, it wasn't any Harrison shit this time. So he was like, because he knows the difference between legitimately being beat and legitimately being saved. And he was legitimately saved by a draw. And they didn't take the, you know, they didn't give the loss to Castano, so Castano wasn't too upset. He just got a draw. But here's the most important thing. They walked away from that ring, and they both got paid. Kurt, do you need wool socks? We have plenty. I heard that. Yeah, I do. Are you in Houston, Kurt? It's coming down here too. Nah, man, I'm in Shreveport. Usyk looks solid against AJ. I mean, he's a heavyweight. He's only had 3 fights at heavyweight. Look at it this way. The other pound for pound best fighter, or one of them, top 5 pound for pound, Terrence Crawford. Can you say now he's not at welterweight? The motherfucker then stopped everybody up there. The only person that Usyk did not stop or make quit was Derek Chisora. AJ hit Usyk with a body shot, and I seen Usyk's life flash before his eyes. Well, Nathan, he needs to go to that body and start working to the body and believe in himself. You know, he can do a lot better, I feel. You know, I think he can do a lot better than he did. We'll see what happens. You know, see, here's the thing. You know, people that support AJ, that ride with AJ, man, give AJ some encouragement. You know what I mean? Like, let's see. You know, everything that he does, take note. Everything that he says, take note. Okay? Because it all reflects, or it should reflect, on what he does in the ring. Do you think the fight will be hosted? Kurt AJ said he wants to go to Dubai. Yeah, he mentioned that. But hey, I think it could be in Dubai. And it could be another way. Like if it happens in England, you don't have to worry about, like, walking around and shit, smiling when you don't really want to. That's bad. Why do people respect Mike Tyson more than Evander Holyfield? Because Mike Tyson was a radical realist, like he's always been. Evander Holyfield was American, was a black American fighter and all that shit. But the problem with Evander Holyfield was Evander Holyfield was the good guy. Salute to you, big man. A lot of people rock with you because you keep it 100. We in the UK rocking with you, bro. Nathan Ricketts, thank you, brother. Counterpunch to you. Keep rocking with me. I'm going to keep it real. Do you think Jermell is overrated? He really doesn't make adjustments. He was also getting whooped in the second Harrison fight as well. Thoughts? I mean, I like the Charlos. I like Ronnie Shields and that whole clique. Ronnie, Jermell, Jamal, at Islandi when he was with him down there in Houston. Well, here's the thing about fighters. Everybody is going to be, and you're talking about overrated. I don't know about overrated. I think that certain fighters will be beat, um, and they will fight certain guys with styles. I think that uh, they promote themselves in a way that you would think that they would be the best, but that's how all those guys are. That's that Floyd Mayweather shit. But we're learning that all these guys, all these fighters are nothing like Mayweather. Neither will they ever will be. Mayweather just dropped some doctoring on how you handle business and how you promote yourself or whatever with the gold chains, the top cocky, flashy type attire people wearing. They got that shit from Floyd, but those guys are not Floyd, okay? Floyd had a structure. He had a team behind him. He had smart people behind him. He made sure he made the most money for the most fights, and those guys are not going to get what Floyd had. I'm sorry. What does that mean, and what does that have to do with his fighting style? Absolutely nothing. Jermell Charlo is a very good fighter. Will he be challenged? Well, yes, he will, but indirectly or unwillingly. And what I mean by unwillingly, like the Castano fight, people thought that he was going to hit Castano and knock Castano out because Castano was the smaller, undefeated fighter. He drawed with Lara before, if you can remember, right? So, I mean, when you're dealing with, guys like Jermell, if they lose, it will be because someone else upset them. It won't be because they fought the best fighters. No. They just so happen to fight a fighter that's better than them that night. But but they don't have those type of fights. Bars. Yeah, Holyfield underrated, but Holyfield wasn't the guy that talked a lot of trash either. Mike Tyson, you didn't know what you was gonna get with Mike. Mike might beat you up. He might bite you. You know. Mike, it's Mike, dude. Mike cuss you out. You know what I mean? Mike was that force, and people wanted to see him. A lot of people hated Mike because of the rape allegations and all that, and it was bad, man. So Mike had a chip on his shoulder for a long time, and he was dealing with other inner demons and stuff like that. And then, by the way, he was on cocaine most of the time. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Mike Tyson did drugs probably from 1992. He did that stint in jail for like 3 years. He gets out of jail. He did drugs that whole time, like probably up until maybe 2003 or 4, maybe. When can we see you fighting Kurt? I'm not a professional fighter. Well, Kurt said these fighters are just mimicking Floyd and doing horrible at it. Yeah, that's all. Floyd comes with the blueprint. Jamel, y'all do what I need to do. Y'all do what I can do. Um, Jamel, I think it's over for you, but Jamal, I think you the one with the golden goose. So stay on Canelo neck. Don't wear his gloves. And me and Al Heyman, me and Al Heyman, we'll take you to the top. You just can't fight everybody. Don't fight everybody. Nothing cool about taking punishment. You don't have to challenge yourself. You wait out for the biggest fights. That's what I'm going to say to you. So, what more popular in U.S. boxing or UFC? UFC's more popular here. I'm just not a UFC guy. I mean, I like watching it. Like, I'll be with homeboys or at Fast Eddie's pool hall or something like that. See Crawford run into Usyk at the hotel for a Loma fight. Said he is coming to Ukraine to check him out. Okay. Boxing fans deserve Fury versus Usyk, AJ versus Wilder, Canelo versus Usyk, Crawford versus Spence. Damn, Canelo's getting bigger and bigger, ain't he? Matt S. Tupac was at Tyson fight to support that fight. Yeah, that was, if that was in 96. Mm-hmm. Hunter got stopped. No, Hunter didn't get stopped. He damn near got stopped by Usyk, though. I mean, they could have stopped it if they wanted to. Dillian White is mentally strong. Yeah, he was at MGM, right? Yeah. Mike Tyson and Tupac. Yeah, they were good friends, man. Kurt, I'm off now. I really hope you get well soon. I hope you do another live before my birthday in a few weeks. Stay blessed, Kurt. Thank you for this live and all your content. Nikki Blue Eyes, thank you. And I hope you have a great day. Hell, Kurt, CP. You good doing it, Tyson. Damn, Mike Tyson. Dillian got no chin. That uppercut is like, that's a light switch. Boop! On. Boop! Off. What do you think of Canelo's pajamas and tracksuits? I have no idea. I haven't seen him, Francisco. Dillian White has been KO'd twice. Yeah? Mm-hmm. So is Deontay Wilder. But yeah, but back to big respect to not letting the fluvid stop your live chat. No, absolutely not. In fact, I'm gonna do more of them because I'm just chilling, right? But I'm gonna watch Usyk versus Hunter, and that's gonna be like my boxing match today. What do I rate Dillian? I rate Dillian at probably like maybe 6 or 7. I'll put him at top 4. I mean, you can. Because, I mean, he hasn't lost in a while since Mr. X COVID. All the heavyweights kiss the canvas except Usyk. Hey, that's true. I don't think Kambosos will fight Haney, so it don't really matter. But anyway, guys, I thank you all for coming on. I'm going to sign off now. I'm going to eat me a little something. Going to watch the fight between Usyk Hunter. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for your blessings, your support. I will be back maybe tonight, okay? But if not tonight, definitely tomorrow. Until then, everyone, God bless you, and you guys been counterpunching. Peace.